Thank you, Shauna. Thank you, Marisol. Whenever you try new things, there's a learning curve, and we appreciate you. Yeah. And we also appreciate Sunny Sharma being with us tonight. We're really in for a treat. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Sunny, and then Sunny's going to tell us about Sunny. I think we'd love the idea of hearing directly from him. But let you know that you can find him at selfinquiryschool.com. I'm just going to read a little bit. He put this together in 2020, and he says, establish yourself in awareness and awaken to your true nature more deeply. And his school helps you to take your meditation practice deeper, dissolve mind identification for good, and realize that you are formless awareness. So those are the 3 points that he has narrowed right down on to be focused with. And so just with that intro, if you don't mind me being very, very short and brief, I can introduce Sunny and give Sunny a chance to say hello to all of us.
Hi, Anne, and hi, everybody else. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Wonderful. So tell us, if you would, maybe we can just get started in the real traditional
Sure.
way. How did you come to maybe to your search, but then how did you come into self-inquiry also, more specifically?
Yeah, of course. So, as usually goes with most people, the spiritual journey came to me in a period of suffering. Not the direct teachings, not like the self-inquiry teachings, but just very sort of beginner spiritual teachings. During that time, I had experienced a physical injury, a spinal injury, which lasted for a couple of years, which really sort of tore me down physically, mentally, and emotionally, I would say. And so it was a period of like a lot of belief systems were shattered. Basically, like my outlook on life, on what I thought life was and was going to be in the future, was challenged. So I was in a vulnerable place. At that point, I thought that that was like the biggest problem that I had. It was like my life was cursed, but only over time I began to realize that that would turn out to be my biggest blessing. So that's when
Mm.
my spiritual journey started. I encountered through a family friend a teacher of Ayurveda, which is sort of like natural healing and science, like a spiritual science of food and medicine. So in the beginning, it was all about just healing my body. Little by little, as I began to practice a little meditation, paying attention to what I ate, started to do a little bit of yoga, started to lightly dabble in the spiritual teachings. As I started to experience more healing, that's when I became interested. So that's
Mm.
what I would say is like the beginning where like the fire of self-discovery was just starting. However, it was still very healing based. Like, hey, I just want to get better. Then little by little, that turned into personal development and the stage of empowerment where I started to see that like, oh, I can change the way that I feel. I can create certain changes in my life. So it was all about that. After a few years of that, I encountered a phase where I realized that like, no matter what I did, what I what goal I achieved, what desire I fulfilled, I still felt restless, empty,
Mm.
unfulfilled, afraid of the future. So it got me really curious, into like so what is there then? Because I didn't just see my state, I would also observe people who had a lot more than me and the very things that I thought I wanted, and I still saw the same thing in them, that sense of unfulfillment, of fear of future, fear of failure, fear of loss. So it just got me curious, and that's sort of when the teachings of Ramana Maharshi came into my life. And so that's what I consider the turning point of my entire life, where for the first time when I was reading the book, Who Am I? For the first time when it was pointed out in that book that your body has always changed. Your personality, your self-image, your preferences, your desires, everything you consider to be you everything you take yourself to be has constantly changed. But there is something that isn't changing. So in that book, beautifully, it's like you're pointed in words to the direct experience of presence or I. And that's what I would say is like that was a very profound moment for me. I was like, wow, there is this same self that experiences all these different things that have come and gone. Yet that is something about me that I consider, right. It's like a meanness, I-ness that has not changed. So that was like the main turning point. And from there, my spiritual journey became very focused on, okay, discovering the true nature of self. What is this? Who am I? What is self? What is life? It was no longer just about shuffling around my experience from this to that. It was about, okay, let's understand the nature of this. So ever since then, I've been really passionate about this and share this on my channel and created a school about it where we really focus on the practice side of things.
Mhm.
Because as you may have seen that, I think in these teachings, it's very easy to just theorize and conceptualize. But I think as Ramana taught, to really ground ourselves in the practice of it. So that's really what I focus on.
Wonderful. Thanks. So when you say the book, you mean the little pamphlet?
Little pamphlet, yeah,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
14 pages or
Wonderful.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so did you have a teacher? So the pamphlet found you.
Yes.
Did you have a teacher or was this you and the pamphlet?
Yeah. I mean, I consider whoever authored the book or whoever's teachings are in the book, I consider that person my teacher. So in
Sure.
that case, it's like I take all of the words that I'm reading to be Ramana directly speaking to me, because
Yeah.
why not? The
Why not?
power of his teaching is really in there. So yeah, no like formal teacher outside, but I consider those books, or even if I hear a talk, like that is the teaching.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you had enough of a direct experience taking it in
Yeah,
that,
that was the
that
first time in that book where so it was like I wasn't thinking about myself. I recognized for that first time the fact that I am aware,
Mhm.
and there was no thought about what that was. There was no like personal concept associated with that sense of being. Now it has become a little more clear, I would say, than before. But it's like at that time it was very new and it was very profound that like this has always been here and it has never changed, and it is closer than closer and more intimate than anything else that I take myself to be. Even thoughts are at a distance and they are seen to come and go, yet this is very palpable sense of presence or beingness. So that was the first time when I felt that the power of that teaching. I was like, okay, there's something more here. There's something more fascinating than anything else I can explore spiritually.
yeah. And so your journey has been so you have the pamphlet, you have that experience, then you start to deepen into it, and then take us from there. Because once you have that immediate direct experience, now you want to kind of stabilize in that, or you want to see it again and again.
Right.
How does that unfold for you?
Yeah. It's a funny thing in the beginning when we just first encounter this practice and you even have that sort of experience, which you can say is not an experience. It's recognizing that which you are, but that which always is. Um, it still is made into a personal thing. We feel like I, the person, have conquered that, or I, Sunny, have made that happen, and I want to go deeper into it for greater personal benefit. So that's how it sort of felt in the beginning, that it's like, oh yes, I want to go deeper into it, I want to go deeper into it, I want to realize truth, or I want to realize myself. Unknowingly though, it's like we continue to create that separation where it's like you have a personal concept of yourself and you are pursuing truth as something other than you or something within you. that you think you're going to get. So yeah, I was still making it into an experience that I will have sometime in the future if I keep doing this practice.
Mm.
And so I mean, I explored it deeply and I continued to sit with it and I tried to follow the teaching the best as I could. It was vague in the beginning, started to become more clear, but then I started to hit a real wall where I felt that like it wasn't maturing, it wasn't ripening, it wasn't like I wasn't getting anywhere. It's because like I kept trying to make it into every time I would sit, even if I'm completely in that state of thoughtless presence, just being, I would still notice like there's a motive there. It's like, what's next? Okay, what is going to come after this? This time I really want to go deeper. Like I was still, it's not a thought. I mean, it is a thought, but it's like it doesn't arise as a very perceivable thought. It's sort of just like an underlying, very subtle motivity, expectation that something should happen. So that's what I started to really discover. Like even that is a perceived object and can be like, go. Even that is not me. So yeah, like I consider this practice as like constantly recognizing that which already is always as it is. And there's no concept of who you are there with what you have left to achieve or gain in the future. So yeah, from a personal sense, it does feel like, yeah, keep visiting that, keep being that, keep sinking into that, keep maturing and growing in that. And that's fine. It can appear that way personally. But when we actually quote unquote visit it, we see that, hey, none of these concepts are alive there. There's no notion of realization or God or self. It's just what is.
And then when did the call, I don't know if you consider it a calling, but I would think it would be some word like that. When did you know that it was your that your energy was to be put towards sharing the teaching?
Well, actually, it unfolded quite. It was a funny way because even when I was exploring the empowerment teachings, manifestation teachings, I was so passionate about just spirituality, like in my practice in general, that I had already started to make videos about my journey and talking about those teachings. So when self inquiry came into my life, that was actually a weird turning point because now I was like, it no longer felt authentic to talk about the other side of things because I just never, was no longer that interested in the other side of things. So I had to like sort of make a shift. I had to shift my entire content, my entire approach, my entire like what I was doing. But it just felt natural. It's just like I was, ever since I discovered spirituality, it was such a passion of mine to write about it, to make videos about it, to talk to others about it, offer any clarity I can. And like that, I would consider, if I was doing any other work, it would just be a waste of my time and something that I'm not good at anything else. So it just felt very natural. Although I was very insecure about it because I was like, who am I to speak about these things?
Mm,
But I just took the perspective on it that like I'm not trying to necessarily teach or get anyone anywhere, but I'm just going to share my path and how I'm experiencing these teachings. And if that's helpful to others, that's great. And so I tried to go with it as like as authentically as I could. And so that's been also one of my main focuses on my channel, just to keep the teaching very authentic and coming in a way that it's like, feeling really inspired. Yeah.
so when you're talking about the other teachings, you're talking about kind of manifestation
Yes.
and I don't know what the other words are for it, but it's because it's more than self-improvement.
Right. Right. Right.
It's like making cool stuff happen
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, and
Achievement,
achievement. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Worldly achievement,
Yes.
worldly
Yes.
manifestation. Did you, was that successful for you? Like, what was that sense for you? Like,
Yeah,
did you
that's
feel like,
where,
wow, this is really a thing?
right, right, right. Well, that's why that was like a great phase of my journey where, yeah, I felt that I was really creating the life that I wanted,
Mm.
and like I was fortunate enough at that time that I started doing this work full time, and I was really like living the life that I wanted at that time. My body was feeling better. I was having more material pleasures. But I mean, and that's when I, encountered self-inquiry after I realized that like even that life, because like, when I did felt like I didn't have anything and I was always in pain and I was unhappy, I thought like the solution to my misery was things. So after pursuing things and still seeing, because at that time, yeah, although that was my path, like all about achievement, but I was also really interested in just spirituality, like, um, it was going deeper, really understanding so that I could achieve. But that's when, like, I started to recognize that, hey, um, this isn't worth all my energy. Not that like there's anything wrong with it, but it's just not worth my entire focus, like my entire life force. That what I'm here for and like what I'm genuinely interested in is understanding myself. So yeah,
Like truth for truth's sake, not truth for what truth can get you.
for personal benefit, right?
Personal benefit. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that is what keeps the personal concept alive. And so I tried to blend the teachings of self-realization with manifestation and self, like personal empowerment. But I found that uh, I felt that the teachings of personal empowerment are a stepping stone meant to be graduated.
Yeah.
So if like by trying to merge them both, I would find that it's not doable. And anytime you like you actually want to put energy into trying to like visualize a future for yourself, it's you're much quote unquote better off simply being or turning inward and resting in absence of thought. So I would find that it's not doable. Or like anytime I'm uh, tr- trying to secure an outcome, my very attachment to it is keeping the personal concept alive. So it's
Yeah.
just not mendable. It's
Yeah.
meant to be graduated. In my opinion, that like we grow through that from personal empowerment to self realization. And so I feel it's sort of like a teaching of like a higher paradigm. And so that's how I felt at that time, that these new teachings are coming into my life. And I felt like almost like they're trying to sort of pull my understanding up. I was trying to cling to my belief systems and what I had acquired until then. So, and little by little, I see that like this teaching of self realization, non duality, like they really challenge every concept you have, everything you consider to be true about yourself, about life, every single little idea. It's like all of our concepts have to be lost or seen as concepts rather than truth. And like we're just sort of falling into the unknown.
So like the concept that there's a separate Anne or a separate Sunny that would like a bigger house or a better relationship or a bigger bank account, even when that was achieved, it seems like at some point you saw that I'm not fully fulfilled. It sounds like you were making achievements, and yet there was a part of you that still wasn't met there because of, obviously it was
Yeah.
reinforcing that separate sense of itself.
Yeah. I just started to see that just like the nature of seeking something in the future is pain. And so what, like continue to seek more and more things in life. Of course that's a part of the personal journey, right? Like achievement and personal growth. But I felt that like that no longer deserves my entire life force. Like it can go on, and in the teachings that I was encountering, of Ramana, of Nisargadatta Maharaj, and many other teachers, it's like, like let that happen. It happens of its own accord. you
Mm,
know
mm.
Instead, when we really focus inward, and our main curiosity, our main desire is truth or God, what has to happen personally happens. But like it's not our main area of focus. It's not our something that like we have a attachment to, how it must happen, what must happen. So yeah.
So I don't know if I'm going to try to ask this. It sounds to me like your purpose, your true desire, got purer and purer. But if you listen to what you're saying, kind of through the filter of the mind, it could get heard like, I need to make my desire purer and purer. And that's kind of the trap of it, isn't it? It's like life showed you that that wasn't what you wanted. It was by giving
Right.
yourself fully to what was in front of you that life or, grace or natural intelligence purified your own desire. You wouldn't say you purified it.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because from the personal perspective, it always appears that like I am the one encountering this practice, doing it, being disciplined to do it, and then, of course, achieving the rewards of it. And it can appear like that personally, but I think what the practice actually reveals to us is that it's all happening of its own accord anyway. We didn't choose the teaching to arise in our experience. Didn't make the desire to practice it happen. um, Whether you succeed in the practice and you're doing it clearly or not is also not being done by you, and what you achieve from it or gain from it is also it's just bestowed rather than earned or achieved. So yeah, it's like from the personal side of things, it appears that you are the body and person doing it, but it's actually like, that's why I love the teaching that all is as it should be. That's why the other than self-inquiry, the main focus of everything that I share and also I see in Ramana's teachings is surrender. Surrender is the wisdom that all is happening as it needs to. You're doing nothing. You're not the body. You're not the mind. The journey as it's unfolding, that is it. it
So talk to us about, so there's this sense, and you even said there's a sense that the person's being disciplined. And you got to have the discipline to surrender. And are you surrendered enough? But that's falling into the trap that there's this personal you that has to put effort and impose discipline. And yet at the same time, discipline's necessary.
right,
For true surrender, discipline's necessary.
right.
So that paradox, can you talk? I don't know if I asked that in a way that
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
speak to. Okay.
Yeah, it is a paradox. You're right. And the way I look at it, to keep it very simple in our practice, because it's like, to understand this as a concept only goes so far, but to really practice it, we have to keep it simple. And the way I look at it, as even now, like what life appears to be is, I am this body here and I am talking to you over there. Um, I am choosing what to say, and I'm saying it. So we can let appearance be appearance. We don't need to battle the appearance. We don't need to change the way life appears to be. But we are beginning to see that it is just an appearance. In truth, I don't even know what I'm going to say next. I, I'm not looking through any catalog to decide what words are going to come next. Like, it's all happening. So it's up to us to, and this is just another one of those things. Like, you can say, are you doing it or not? But it's for us to observe it and see that, like, you appear to be the body doing, you appear to be the mind thinking and choosing, but you're not that. So let it appear to be that, oh, I am the mind thinking and deciding what to say and do, and then the body doing it. But recognize that you are not that, that is a changeful experience perceived. This whole experience of us talking and doing this meeting has appeared and will pass. You're not the body that is doing, you're not the mind that is thinking and deciding. So yeah, it is a paradox, because on one level, yeah, you totally feel like, I am doing this, I'm choosing and I'm doing this. On one level, you are only the witness of the appearance of this experience. And so we can let appearance be appearance, but we can be grounded in a truth that this is not ultimately what I am. And I feel that once we know that it is just what appears to be, then we are not fooled by it.
We are not fooled by it. And the fool would be thinking that we are anything that we can perceive.
Right. And that would be what is called in these teachings as ignorance, on behalf of which arises suffering. So ignorance in these teachings is like being under the impression that I am a so and so, that I am the mind, that I am the body, the world is real, that this experience is this experience is reality of the senses, right? So inquiry, very in a funny way, arises in our experience and sort of clears away the debris of our understanding.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to, I'm going to scroll down. I'm on your self-inquiry school.com because I just love, okay, design for seekers. And then you have a bunch of things that different bullet points of what, when someone studies with you, you're looking for them to get. And then here's my favorite part though. Who for whom is self-inquiry school not what you want, right? So who is self-inquiry school not for? I love this part. First, anyone who is brand new to spirituality altogether, because there's this learning phase where the concepts are going to be important and trying different things are important. And this self-inquiry school is not for people who want like a broad survey course of spirituality. Is that so?
Um, so yeah, yes, in a way, but at the same time, I mean, I don't want to write so much on that page, but I to specify, there's been very few cases where I've met people who, for whom this very deep teaching arose in their experience as the very first spiritual teaching they encountered. So you can't say for all cases.
It just didn't come in for them when they weren't ripe yet, you're saying.
uh, well, I meant that like it came for, it was like the first teaching that ever arose in their experience, and if there's desire to pursue it, then I would say it's relevant, but yeah, I just felt that I put that there just to for anybody who is not necessarily interested in the depth of it all,
Yeah.
that it might not be right for them.
Yeah. So then, okay. So then there's the second point of who it's not for. Anyone whose primary focus is going to be on manifestation and on the achievement of personal goals. Like if there's still energy, I know how I read that, if there's still energy in you to pursue that, if that hasn't run its course and you haven't seen through it, this is maybe not yet the school for you either, because that you're not ripe yet. It's like that has to run its course in its natural progression.
Right.
And then I love, so, and this is all to get to your third point. Here's the third point that self-inquiry school is not for. Anyone who's not willing to commit to practice the teaching. Like when you're still in the phase that you want to talk about them and maybe debate them and have them, argue about them or compare them. It's like, but if you are willing to commit to practicing this teaching, like you're in the right place. So I love this next line you wrote. This program, your program, and the way you see self-inquiry, which I'd love to set this up for you then to kind of maybe walk us through if you think it's a meditation or a demonstration or however you want to. But what you write is this program will not offer quick solutions or gimmicky techniques. Like if the mind is still so involved that it wants something really, really quick, go run that energy through someplace else. This isn't the place, because you say, we focus on what is simple and effective, and we focus on creating a consistent practice over a long period of time. That's where the results are going to come. So I just want to give you a chance to really talk about how, if you're willing to commit to practice, what it's going to be about. It's going to be about simplicity, but it's also going to be about the effectiveness of consistency. So maybe you could walk us through that.
Yeah, those bullet points cost me a lot of sales. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. But
Mm.
when I created this school, and as I began to um like as some time passed, I wanted to keep one thing very, very like I wanted to keep it the main focus of the school. When I looked into many spiritual groups at that time, and Like I was trying to sort of join many spaces to learn. I felt that like there was too much emphasis on concepts and intellectual learning. So when I wanted to create the school, I felt that I want this to be a place where the focus is practice. And little by little, also into that other point, which is like I felt, myself included, I was always looking for some sort of quick shift, something I can do, some fancy technique I can do that's going to bring me massive change very, very quick, a lot of spiritual progress in short amount of time. So I started to see that that's like a very silly notion the mind has, and it, when we are under that impression, we don't want to commit to a simple practice like self inquiry. We try to just go to the next and the next and the next. So that's why I wanted to place those points there. Where it's like a school is a place of practice. We lead with practice. Theory side, if anything, is like maximum 25%. 75 is practice. And so the way I operate the school, and also even in my videos, it's like very guidance focused to really experience what the teachings are pointing us to rather than create concepts about what that is. And then really just like totally emphasize consistency aspect of it, because I really feel that this practice does this practice and this path does not require any special talent, special ability, or even spiritual gift. I just feel that even that if the teaching has come into our life, it is already a gift enough. It is already a sign of grace that is present. So our main job, if you were to say it, is just consistent devotion to the simple practice of what the teaching is pointing us to the best of our ability. And our ability when we begin is so minute, is so little. Things are so vague, unclear. But rather than worry, dwell in confusion, or just theorize about, oh, am I doing this right? Or this is what that means. This is what this is leading to. If we just continue to take our attention there again and again, we keep practicing, if we keep embodying these teachings, we keep embodying what we truly are through the happenings of day-to-day life, then I think we grow in clarity. So yeah. And I don't remember the last part of your question. Did I answer it?
You did, you did.
Okay, perfect,
Well,
perfect.
the last part is if you feel called to take us through
Mhm.
any type of meditation or practice, so that, because I'd love to keep to the 25% rule, 75% rule, even in our time together, because it's the simplicity that gets demonstrated that for me allows the consistency of devotion to really take root. It's like small wins, a win and a win and a win and a win and a win. And then next thing you know, you've got the confidence because you've got the competence. And next thing you know, that leads you to commitment.
Sure. So you wanted to do a guidance.
Yeah, I'd love to do that if
Sure.
is that alive for you?
Yeah. What were we talking, like 5 to 10 minutes or so?
Anything you want. We have another 50 minutes. So
Okay.
however many minutes you want.
Sure.
A,
Okay.
a good chunk of however long.
So what I would like to theme this guidance based on is the cornerstone of self inquiry, which is a discernment between changeful experience and unchanging being. Discerning between changeful experience and unchanging being. I think whenever we start with any practice session, guidance or without, I think it's best for a few moments just allowing the momentum of our mind to settle by coming into a place for the moment where we don't need anything. We don't need anything in the experience to change. At the moment, I don't need to understand anything. I don't need to come to any realization through this guidance. I don't need to achieve anything by the end of this session. And we de energize the mind by letting go of interest in what it has to say for the moment. While we're here together, I invite everyone to let go of interest, giving interest to what the mind is saying, whether it's talking about this teaching or what you're going to have for dinner later or what's coming up for you tomorrow. For the moment, nothing the mind has to say is of any significance, any importance whatsoever. We can see it is our own sense of importance and significance that we give to the thoughts that are arising that keep them very compelling and sticky, keeps the mind restless, more and more need to think in order to get somewhere. But for the moment, allow yourself the gift to let everything the mind says to be of absolutely no importance. It is not you. It is not yours. It is not your doing. You are present. And in your seeing, thoughts appear and pass. Thoughts are not you. They're not yours either. Just like the sound of my voice arising and passing, coming and going in your experience is not you, not yours, not your doing. Just like the sound of my voice, any thought that is appearing in your seeing is coming, going. It's not you, not yours. It's not your doing. You're not doing it. Yes, it appears I think thoughts, I do thoughts. I am a thinker. Actually, thoughts think that I think thoughts. It's a thought made appearance. I think thoughts and I'm going to choose what to think next is also just a thought. which also appears and passes in your seeing. Your seeing, which is wordless. Thoughts are always words, images. But of words and images, there is a wordless seeing. Recognize yourself as the wordless seeing or awareness prior to, subtler than, the thoughts which are coming and going. This is our main work, the primary discernment that all the great masters guide us to. Whatever you see come and go, appear and pass, whatever takes shape and is perceived, you are not that. Recognize your unchanging knowing. This experience of us being on a meeting together, it has come, it will pass. Soon it will be replaced by something completely different. But the knowing, which is here now, will be the same. Tune into that here and now. The instruction isn't to think about knowing, because thinking is also known, is it not? Know the knowing. Recognize yourself being that knowing. The mind could be saying anything right now. It can be confused, excited, happy, unhappy, saying, I get this or I don't. Am I practicing this right? Is this going to get me somewhere? This voice is not you. Don't take that to be yourself. All these thoughts, there is a knowing of. These thoughts come and go. You are. And you are aware of the arising and passing of these thoughts. Recognize yourself being that awareness that you already are prior to subtler than thoughts. Awareness, you never know as an object that you can look at and say, oh, that's where it is. It's not an experience we can have. That's why it seems vague. Awareness is not something to seek as an experience. Instead, recognize yourself being aware. Notice that you are aware. When you notice that you are aware, you are being awareness, knowing that it is. I am. The mind will keep trying to arise and verbalize this, conceptualize it, describe it, interpret it. But we simply keep recognizing that those are thoughts in our seeing. Have no interest in those descriptions. No description can touch the self. No description is true. Therefore, it is unworthy, unnecessary, irrelevant. The moment you find yourself dwelling in it, simply let it go and find yourself once again. Recognize yourself as the seeing prior to the words. So, this is what the question, who am I, is designed to point us towards. The question, who am I, is not a intellectual curiosity that must be followed with more words about who I am or what I could be. It guides us inward to our true nature, but in a way where you find yourself being what you already are, being what you truly are. And in that moment, your entire idea of yourself is suspended for the moment. Again and again, we bring our attention inward to that unchanging knowing, unchanging being. Call it presence, awareness, anything. Wordlessly aware. In which there's no thought of who you are, what is next. Simply being what you are. Okay, so we can conclude there.
Thank you, my friend.
Hope it wasn't too long.
Oh, it certainly wasn't too long for me.
Okay.
Could have stayed there all night. Matter of fact, I will, and yet talking will continue. I want to invite anyone who has a question. Sunny is a pro and he just welcomes all questions. Wonderful. Jan, thank you.
Hi, Sunny. I just
Hi,
love
Jan.
your gentle passion. Your voice is like silk and just your gentleness just shines. So thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you very much.
In your practice, in regards to sitting meditation, I'm wondering how much of that you tend to advise. And a secondary question, if I may, I read a fair bit of Ramana Maharshi's writings, but it's been a very long time. And one of the things that I remember, interestingly enough, a story where a young woman who was perhaps related in some way to him had come to visit. And she was excited about going off to university to study. And I may not be remembering this correctly, but what I kind of remember is or at least I felt at that time, what he was saying was his advice was not to do that and rather to meditate. And I might be wrong about that, but I wonder if you just have any comments about that at all.
Yeah, so let's cover the first bit about the sit down meditation. I think we all have to sort of find our own balance, but I don't think there's any necessary standard of, well, how you have to sit for this much time every day. But I am a very big, I unknowingly emphasize the sit down practice in all my videos and in all the work that I do. I just think that that's the foundation. I think every single day, maybe twice per day, we should have a window where it's like you actually look at that as a period of devotion, and you fast from the senses, from the mind. You turn inward, you let go of assuming all forms, and you just, turning inward. We can look at this as like a period of devotion where, I call it like an appointment with God. Never miss your appointment with God. We can look at it as meditation, anything. So yeah, it's where we completely are able to get away from the pressures of the day-to-day experience, the outside world, and just completely turn inward. I think this is the foundation of our entire spiritual practice. It keeps us clear, keeps us inspired, motivated, devoted. It forbids us from getting too entangled in the world. So yeah, I think all, like, even practice and being present during the day spontaneously comes through that foundation, I feel. So yeah, I don't think that there's any specific standard of how long you need to do that. I usually just suggest everybody, like, 20 to 30 minutes twice per day, total to about an hour. I just feel like so if anyone joins my school, I will share that, especially if they have no sit down established, because I know once they start getting consistent with that, then there's a wisdom that comes from within that guides you on how long you need to do it, and not so. But I'd say like 1 hour is sufficient per day in 2 sessions, and then after that, beyond that, if you want to sit more, you can. If you want to sit less, you can see. But
Wonderful.
one thing
Thank you.
yeah, sorry, just one last point on that. I know I'm talking a lot too much, but I think more than the time that we do it for, so duration, I think what's more important is intensity, meaning even if it's like a subtle moment in the day, right? Like when it's not your sit down practice time and you're out and about, or even like now, we find ourselves sometimes so just like lost in interpretations and descriptions of our current experience and anxiousness about what's coming, like relating to this experience as a person, what's in it for me, whether I like it or not. So it's like intensity. In this very moment, can I drop all that just for the moment? In this moment, just for this moment, can I let go of taking all that stuff to be me? And it's like you just drop it, having no interest in it, not taking it to be what you are. You just drop it. And all you are left as is an open, empty presence, conceptless, wordless, desireless, the nature of which is total allowance, simply being.
Love that.
So, yeah. intensity more than duration, but definitely I'd suggest every single day taking time to sit down and doing it. And so what was the second part regarding the whether to go to college or meditate?
Yeah, I guess what the gist of that is, and it's partly out of sometimes of my own confusion around things that I still maybe want to do, that there's a desire there, I guess. And then you're coping with the concept of being desireless and so forth. So in terms of, how we in a day-to-day, since we're in these bodies doing the things that we do every day, I don't know, say just even doing a painting or something.
Right.
There's always, I haven't found like a space where I guess part of me for some reason has learned that that there's something wrong about that, because it's focused on something that I might want to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop talking if you have
No,
any
I
clue
understand
at all.
I understand, and it's a subtle dilemma that I think everybody who pursues this path goes through. So thanks for bringing that up. An idea that I had of spirituality when I just embarked on this path was that the deeper you go in it, the less you will do, the more you will just leave the world and retreat somewhere. And, what I have actually discovered is that the more that I have gone deeper into this practice and matured in my practice, that has given rise to a greater authenticity on the personal level than ever before. And so personal activity moves of its own accord according to its destiny, according to its own, call it programming or whatever. But there's less and less ownership of that. So you can see that if there is something you wish to do it, pursue it, let it come through, let it happen. While you are doing it, know that it's ultimately about the journey that unfolds as you are doing it. And it's not about what you're going to get from it or achieve from it. That is going to be your spiritual journey. And so experience it fully, do all the things you enjoy, yet be attached to no particular outcome. I think as long as we are not attached to any particular outcome, there's nothing that you must experience, you must happen for you, and something that you're direly trying to avoid. You're just open, empty, the total allowance of any experience that may come your way. There's just a willingness to experience everything. Then on the bodily level, do what you want, mental level, think what you want, but also through your own discernment, keep seeing that, yeah, in the personal side of things, from the personal point of view, it seems like, hey, I get the desire to do something and I can choose to act or not, and then do it. Whereas like that's only what things appear to be on the personal level. Whereas like whether you choose to act on it, do it or not do it, is also just the experience that is appearing. Like you go watch a movie, and in the movie, the image that is appearing in the whole movie world, and the character in it, and the character is thinking of, hey, where do I take my life and what do I do? Should I do this or that? And then she decides to do that and then go this way. It's like it's all part of the movie that is appearing. So your whole thinking process of what to do, when to do it, how to do it, it's all actually just the experience that is appearing. You're not that, you're not the body doing, you're not the mind thinking. So we do everything, but then at the same time, from a higher level, we continue to see that I am not this experience. I'm not this sequence of experiences. Jan doing this, Jan doing that.
Thank you so much. Beautiful.
I hope that brought some clarity.
Yeah, thank you, Jan. Thank you, Sunny. Sunny, the the pointings you're giving reminds me of the video I saw that you made called How to Live in This World for Truth and Not Suffering, where you go through the Bhagavad Gita, just so just such clear pointings. So if this resonates for you all, that's a video that you could look to kind of just reinforce everything Sunny just said.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. I would say the Gita was also one very like a huge text for me in terms of learning to apply the implications of discovering our true nature in our day-to-day life. Because I found when I discovered the Gita, I found myself so conflicted between these little paradoxes, and it didn't make sense. Like, okay, so I felt the Gita, for anybody who hasn't encountered it here, I don't know, is a great text that really teaches us how to live the teachings. Yeah.
Yeah, and I loved when you made the point about the alike in success and defeat. Like if you can let that land and you're just practicing evenness of mind, you're just continually, and the practice may look really successful or it might not look successful
Right.
at all. And you're bringing evenness of mind to that,
Right.
so it's just kind of the gift that keeps giving once you make that your true north. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
super.
an amazing point. Like, uh, remain the same in the highs and lows, the good and the bad, pleasant and unpleasant. And it's a great hint. Krishna is guiding us to being as we are, being as our true nature is, as we just discovered, open, empty, desireless, fearless, uninvested, impersonal. So it's like by guiding us to be like, to embody some sort of personal trait of like even mindedness through all the circumstances of life. It's like we practice that as a person, but what we discover in order to practice that is like you have to go beyond the person. You have to really be as you really are, and then it translates over into the personal expression.
Yeah, it's like a transformative meta pointing,
Right, right,
imitate it. I mean, it is one of those that really is fake it till you make it. Because if
right,
you're faking even-mindedness, you're going to start to feed on even-mindedness, which just feels fabulous because you're even-minded.
right.
Yeah. It's kind of its own, it like begets its own feedback loop. Yeah, which is beautiful.
The, just one last thing on that is like the way I saw it is that um that which perceives the mind, which is never even, that which perceives the restless mind is always even. So it's not because we are so identified with the mind, and when it's restless, we feel like I am restless. But you see, that I am, which is prior to restlessness, which comes and goes, is always the same. So I think once we start to discover that, that can be our true refuge. That can be the place where we always go for, because it's the only stable thing in our entire life, the only thing of true value, our main treasure, our only security and safety. Because everything in the realm of experience, from the outward, like material, like possessions and titles and the body, to internal, like thought, like belief systems and emotions, everything is unstable and can be changed the next moment. But the I amness is the unchanging reality which accompanies the changing. So yeah, like even mindedness forces us to go there. Yeah.
And then your other pointing by twice a day for however long you're guided, steep yourself there, remind
Right.
yourself it's there, and confirm for yourself it is there, allows that to carry you through. Yeah,
Right.
beautiful. Wonderful. Jill.
Oh my gosh, Sunny, thank you so much for that meditation. I found you probably maybe a month and a half ago. I was going through some kind of emotional, just a really thought heavy day and experience a lot of emotion and thoughts were coming up, and I was resting and I heard this thought, and the thought came in is, who is the thinker of this thought? And I was like, oh my God. Like it just came in out of nowhere. And it's not that I haven't heard maybe that a different form of that self-inquiry question, but when I looked and I checked, I was like, oh my God, find the thinker of this thought. And something that you said about being bestowed, like there was something that just popped in out of, I don't know where it came from, but I don't need to know where it came from. But then I went and I Googled because I was like, this just felt so amazing. I sat with it. I couldn't find the thinker of the thought. All I could find is the one that is aware of the thinker of
Mm,
the thought. And you kept saying in this meditation, you are not those thoughts. And there's, I just become
right.
identified and entangled. And I was so excited. I watched like a couple of your videos were so good. So I'm just putting that out there. And if you maybe
Mm,
want to touch on that, but it was just like this like plop came in and it just was an amazing experience of
yeah.
getting it. Like, even though I've heard it before, why do we sometimes just like, and what you explained, bestowed, just kind of makes sense. So,
Right, right. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Very nice to meet you, by the way, and glad the video is resonating. But yeah, the thinker, when we really look at it, is also a thought made appearance. And one simple way to look at it actually is just that like thinking happens through the point of view of the person thoughts claim you are in that voice speaking. So it's like your thoughts are Jill speaking about Jill's life and it's like Jill's point of view is like the narrator is Jill. And the way thoughts conceive of who Jill is the current body of Jill, the current face of Jill, the current preferences and desires and fears, and the story of Jill and what Jill, it's so notice though that all of those are changeful characteristics. The person is not one thing, the person is a bundle of all of these things put together. And thought has a image of who I am, and that's the Jill of the current Jill. But this Jill is so changeful. It's thoughts speak as Jill, like the Jill that thoughts speak as today is not the same Jill that thoughts used to speak as, right? It was a different version of Jill, call it. So in our conditioning, we just sort of take for granted that I am a something, a somebody that changes, completely overlooking the fact that our direct experience of ourself is always changeless. Like beyond concepts, beyond everything we have been taught about ourselves, and beyond everything we believe ourselves to be, if we put all that aside, if we put empty every single concept, if you even put aside the concept, I am a body, I am a mind, like if you put aside the concept body, if you put aside every concept, your direct experience of yourself is something which never changes. Call it I, presence, beingness. It is that underlying of formless selfness, which is the same. Experiences come and go in it, including the thoughts. But I am always that. So yeah, thoughts just like they have this filter in them. It's part of the programming with which thought arises, is that I am thinking thought. This is itself a thought made illusion. And once we begin to see that, then we can really discern even better. And the way I like to discern is words and wordless awareness. I am always without words. I like to see it as like, I don't have the capacity to think. I don't think. Thoughts happen, thoughts come and go. It's not me. It's not mine. It's not my doing. And that's why I give the example of like my voice arising in your experience. You don't claim it as you or yours or your activity that you are doing. It's just phenomena arising, passing, arising, passing. At least for practice sake, if we can start looking at our thoughts in this way, that is the beginning of the end of mind identification.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Thank you, Jill. Tina.
I don't know if I could have done cartwheels. I mean, you are off the charts. I don't want to blow your head up, whatever, but unbelievable. So my mind is blown. So I have some questions. You do these note cards, and I just want to make sure that I wrote down exactly what you said on some notes, because these are the things that hit. You said, seeking something in the future is pain. Did you say that? Or was that my ears hearing that?
I think something like that. Yeah.
Okay. I love that. I mean, something about that just went, holy shit, because lately my thing has been like the now, like this weird immediate scene of just like nows a million times. So I love that. And the
Actually,
total
before we move
surrender.
on to the next thing, I remember early on in my spiritual journey,
Yeah.
I encountered a quote. I believe it's by Nisargadatta Maharaj. It said something along those lines, and it really made me mad because, so it said, it said, to desire is pain, because desire is born in pain, right? You feel like you're lacking something, it's painful, so desire arises for something else. And he said, in pain, we pursue desire, right? So the entire pursuit of desire is painful. And it also ends in pain, regardless of if you fulfill that desire or not, because if you don't fulfill it, it's pain. But if you do fulfill it, because of the very nature of experience being impermanent, and the very thing you achieve and attain will pass, it also ends in pain, leading to more desire. So it really made me mad in the beginning, though, because desire was very beloved, like it's something that I really valued. So
Yeah.
it
Right.
did get me
Manifestation.
curious.
Oh my God.
It
I
did
loved
get
what
me
you just said.
curious, So that's when I really started to explore the nature of desire. And like it's like these are truths that, if we are lucky, they come into our experience through books or talks or whatever. And sometimes we really try to like defend our belief system, like we get really like agitated, like how could this be said or whatever. I feel like those are the most powerful moments where we can like look at our own self. It's like, wait, what am I protecting here? What belief or idea am I really holding on to that maybe is keeping me, like I'm clinging to my current understanding rather than just becoming open. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention that because it reminded me of that.
Oh, you keep talking. I'm fine. I'm just whatever. Something in me is just like right cording with you. I don't understand. But anyway, I just make sure I have this. I mean, I loved what you just said. I would love to have written that down, but I didn't catch it all the way. So did you say Maharaj wrote something like that? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
yeah.
And did you get that quote written down that he said about from Maharaj?
I paraphrased it,
Okay.
but
This is recorded, Tina. You don't
Okay, yeah,
don't
that's
even
right.
worry. Don't even worry about it.
I forgot. Okay, here's the next one then. Focus. I liked this because I like action like that too. Focus. You said focus on practice, consistency. And there was something else, wasn't it? Or was that it? Was those the three? Focus, practice, consistency.
Consistent devotion, right, to embodying the teachings in day-to-day life. Yeah,
Mhm.
being very practice oriented. And I believe the other thing we talked about was also like the intensity of practice, meaning in this very moment going all in, not holding back.
Okay.
Like really in this moment, are you willing to drop everything, all concept, all description, all interpretation? Because when we drop all those things, nothing happens. Like you don't disappear. Experience doesn't fall apart. Actually, there's a greater clarity. So it's like this is a process of subtraction. It's like truth isn't to be acquired or attained or added on. It's like, hey, we need to rid ourselves of this debris, all this stuff that's just been put on. So yeah, intensity. If I'm thinking
Yeah,
correctly.
you're right. I wrote that down. Thank you. And this was a big hit for me. And I don't think I wrote this down correctly, but you talked about discernment and you said something about change of experience and unchanging being. what, I know I didn't get that correct, but I can't, do you know what I'm talking about?
Changeful experience.
Changeful experience. Okay.
So discerning between changeful experience and unchanging being. So it's just to say that, and you can, even in a simple way, you can put it, just discerning between that which never changes and that which changes. So the instructions in these very profound teachings, they guide us that whatever changes is not your real self. It is an appearance. And that which never changes, that which remains the same in every experience, is the presence or reflection of your true self or reality.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was, I'm like, holy cow. I don't know why. What, we hear it a million times in different ways, but when you said that, I was just like, whoa. And it's, I think, the next one is, it's a thought. I loved this, but I don't think I got the right word with it. You said it's a thought making a thought, or was it a thought? It's a thought making an appearance of a thought. Is, do you remember saying that?
When we were talking about the thinker or before?
Yes. You said something about it's a thought. It's just a, you go, it's just a thought making a thought, or was it the appearance of a thought? I mean, it doesn't really matter. Just the what you meant by it.
Think of thoughts as like, think of a thought as like, the arising of a thought is like it's like a gift box. But what's inside, if you open that gift wrapping and you open that box, inside of that is an object. So if you, the arising of a thought is just, right, look at it as that, like a gift box. Inside of that thought is a concept which is projected, which is an idea about a thing, right? Like a thought can have an idea, like it's a description inside it, okay, of my face. What, it's like this or that, I like it or I don't. Another thought can arise and is going to have a different idea inside of it, of like, what you're going to have for dinner later. Like inside of each thought is an idea. It's a whole reality. It's a whole world. And so that is what we call, it's like all of these, all the things that thoughts project are conceptual. They are not reality. They are concepts, ideas about things. And they all happen in a very personal voice, which is, right, Tina's voice or Sunny's voice. And so it thought arises with the illusion that I, Tina, am thinking thought. It's a thought made appearance, a thought made illusion.
Yeah. Oh man, I get it. I'm feeling now the ego over here is getting guilty because I see Marisol's hand and I'm like, I don't want to keep it going. I will check out your website and all your stuff later. Thank you so much.
Glad everything's resonating. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Marisol.
Yeah, well, I see we only have 1 minute, but thank you, Sunny. I wanted to ask you, which I'm not sure you're going to have time to even talk about the shadow and shadow work and how you see that, like old pain that comes up to be healed.
Yeah. So I have 1 minute or so. I'll try to be.
Yes, but we will not cut you off. You
Okay.
have as much time. If anyone needs to go,
I mean,
we
it's a jam-packed question.
want to respect everyone's time, but I will certainly
Sure.
be able to.
I'll try to be fast as well. I did a lot of healing work before encountering self-inquiry. I feel though after I encountered self-inquiry, I discovered self-inquiry to be the greatest healing. So all the shadow work I used to do before were like, you go into your past, your story, or you try to like feel things that are coming up. And but at least from my experience, how I always did it was like always with an expectation of getting healed and coming to a place where I'm fully healed and I have no more limiting belief or no more limitation in my body. However, like my healing journey, I felt that no matter how much healing I did, externally and internally, I felt that I needed more healing. I was still a broken person and that I needed more and more things to fix about myself. Self-inquiry was different for me because like self-inquiry, and the reason I call it the greatest healing is because it points us to our true nature, which is prior to both the broken body and mind and the traumatized body and mind. And I felt that more that I recognized my truth, my true nature, the more it was okay that my body and mind were imperfect. And that they didn't need to be like, there didn't need to be an obsession about healing. Although that healing comes anyway through different channels when it's time, and if it feels appropriate, you can pursue whatever you want. But I just felt like that obsession ended of like perfecting my belief system or how I feel about things. And self-inquiry just opens us up to be the total allowance of experience, however it is. And so, yes, it's not a denial of the person either. It's just, whatever is arising emotionally, mentally, physically, you are the total allowance of that. So there's never any conflict. But yeah, so I think with self-inquiry, it is the greatest healing. It points us to that which was never, ever blemished. It's undisturbed, unchanging, pure. Discovering that brings greater and greater clarity and happiness to even the limited, imperfect expression of the body mind.
So are you saying, just real quick, that it's an embracing and an allowing what is happening with also a detachment from it, correct? Like
Yeah, seeing that
not
you are not
believing you're
it. Right. Seeing that you are not that essentially, and therefore allowing it to be as it is, right? Allowing the body and mind and the whole personal story to be imperfect and not needing to flow towards a perfect outcome or a place where you feel you will have greater like fulfillment or happiness because the body has changed in this way or the mind has changed in this way. Yeah.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. Let me say again, Sunny has a robust presence on YouTube, Sunny Sharma at Self Inquiry School. He also has a website, Self Inquiry School. And I'm sure would love to hear from anyone who wants to reach out. And Sunny, thank you so much. It's just been a brilliant time together. I want to invite everyone back who feels to discuss this again. And we're going to come back 11 o'clock, 11 to 12 in the morning to have a Satsang Reflections program that Joseph will see us through. I look forward to being there with everyone who would love to kind of trade notes and share what came up for them, since we all didn't get a chance to ask questions. And again, Sunny, lots of love to you and everything that you're bringing to the world.
Thank you all very much. It was lovely meeting you all, and thank you for the pleasure of allowing me to be here and speak to you. Love the work that you're doing here. I'm wishing you the very, very best. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, my friend.